Have you ever looked at a food, you trust something you've eaten for years believing it was healthy, and wondered what if this is quietly hurting my body right now? What if the very food you choose to protect your health after 60 is slowly damaging your kidneys without pain, without warning, and without a single clear symptom? I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I need you to listen carefully because what I'm about to share is not a theory, not a trend, and not fear-mongering. It's something I've seen too many times in real patients. Kidney damage doesn't happen overnight. It builds silently, meal by meal, year by year, until one day the fatigue, the nighttime urination, the back pain suddenly makes sense, and by then the damage is already done. But here's the truth most people never hear. The problem is not the food itself. The real danger lies in how it's eaten, what it's combined with, and the small daily habits that slowly overload aging kidneys. And today I'm going to show you exactly what to avoid, what to change, and how to eat in a way that truly protects your kidneys before it's too late. When we talk about kidney health after 60, most people focus on what they eat, not how foods interact inside the body. And that's where the first and most common mistake quietly begins. Tofu has long been praised as a clean, gentle protein, especially for older adults trying to reduce red meat. Spinach or leafy greens like it are seen as symbols of health. But when these two meet on the same plate, something very different happens inside aging kidneys. I want to tell you about a man I once spoke with in his late 60s. He didn't drink alcohol, rarely ate meat, and proudly told me he ate clean every day. His favorite meal was a light tofu and spinach soup. He believed it was protecting his kidneys, yet he came in confused and exhausted, struggling with kidney stones and declining kidney function. What shocked him most was not the diagnosis, it was learning that his healthiest habit was slowly working against him. Here's the science behind it, explained simply. Spinach is naturally high in oxalates. Tofu, on the other hand, contains a significant amount of calcium. When oxalates and calcium enter the body together, especially in people over 60 whose kidneys filter less efficiently, they bind to form calcium oxalate crystals. These crystals do not dissolve easily. Over time, they accumulate, turning into kidney stones that quietly damage the kidneys long before pain appears. Large nutritional studies have shown that calcium oxalate accounts for nearly 70 to 80% of all kidney stones, and the risk increases sharply with age as kidney clearance slows. This is why many older adults feel fine for years until suddenly nighttime urination, back discomfort, or extreme fatigue appears. The damage didn't start yesterday. It started years earlier, one healthy meal at a time. What makes this mistake so dangerous is that it feels safe. There is no immediate pain, no warning sign. The kidneys are silent organs. They don't complain until they are overwhelmed, and by the time symptoms show up, the stones have already formed and kidney stress has already accumulated. Now, this doesn't mean tofu or spinach are bad foods. The danger lies in the combination, especially when repeated week after 60. Many people believe that eating lighter automatically means eating safer. But kidney health is not about eating less, it's about eating smarter. And this is exactly why simply knowing one healthy rule is never enough. Because the next mistake is even more deceptive, even more common, and far more damaging over time. But just knowing this isn't enough because there's another factor that's even more dangerous, and most people never see it coming. If the first mistake hides behind foods that look healthy, then the second mistake is far more deceptive because it hides behind foods that taste comforting. After learning about tofu and spinach, many people think, fine, I'll avoid that combination. But then they turn to what feels like a safer option, fried tofu skin, or ready-made tofu products sold at markets and supermarkets, believing that plant-based still means kidney-friendly. I remember a woman in her early 70s who told me she rarely cooked anymore. For convenience, she often bought fried tofu and tofu skin to add to soups or eat with rice. She didn't see it as junk food. In her mind, it was still tofu, still soy, still healthy. But over time, her blood pressure crept up, her legs began to swell, and her kidney numbers slowly worsened. She never suspected the tofu. And that's exactly why this mistake is so dangerous. Here's what's really happening. Fresh tofu is like a sponge. When it's deep fried, especially in commercial kitchens or street stalls, it absorbs large amounts of oil. Even worse, that oil is often reheated again and again at high temperatures. This process creates oxidized fats compounds that damage blood vessels, increase inflammation, and thicken the blood. Your kidneys rely on clean, smooth blood flow to filter waste. When the blood becomes heavy and inflammatory, the tiny filtering units inside the kidneys, the glomeruli, begin to clog and scar. And that's only half the problem. Fried tofu and tofu skin are also loaded with hidden sodium. Not always salty to the taste, but heavily seasoned to boost flavor. High sodium intake is one of the strongest drivers of high blood pressure, and high blood pressure is the #1 cause of chronic kidney disease worldwide. Studies show that long-term excess sodium can accelerate kidney function decline by up to 40%, especially in adults over 60. What makes this mistake so tragic is that the damage doesn't hurt at first. There's no sharp pain, no warning alarm, just slow, swelling, rising blood pressure, nighttime urination, and fatigue that people blame on aging. Meanwhile, the kidneys are working under constant pressure, filtering thick, inflamed blood day after day until they simply can't keep up anymore. Now, does this mean you can never eat fried tofu again? Not exactly, but when it becomes frequent, convenient, and unquestioned, it stops being food and starts becoming a burden your kidneys were never designed to carry long-term. Kidney damage rarely comes from one bad meal. It comes from habits repeated quietly for years. And this brings us to the final and most overlooked danger of all. Because even if you avoid spinach and fried tofu, there is one factor that most people completely ignore, and it may ultimately decide whether your kidneys survive aging or fail. But just knowing this still isn't enough, because the next factor is even more dangerous and almost no one is paying attention to it. By now, many people feel a sense of relief. They think, all right, I'll avoid spinach with tofu and I'll stay away from fried tofu. But this is where the most dangerous mistake quietly slips in, because it doesn't announce itself with taste, texture, or smell. It hides behind price tags, packaging, and assumptions we almost never question. I once spoke with a retired couple in their 70s who were proud of how carefully they budgeted their food. They chose the cheapest tofu at the supermarket, believing tofu was tofu. Same color, same softness, same protein. So why pay more years later? Both were struggling with fatigue, worsening lab results, and unexplained kidney stress. When we looked closer, the issue wasn't how often they ate tofu. It was where that tofu came from. Here's the part most people have never been told. A large portion of low-cost soy used in mass-produced tofu comes from genetically modified crops designed to withstand heavy herbicide spraying. That means these plants can accumulate residues of chemicals like glyphosate during growth. These residues don't cause immediate symptoms. They don't make food taste strange. But over time, they add to the detoxification burden placed on the liver and kidneys, organs that already slow down naturally after 60. Scientific reviews have shown that glyphosate exposure is associated with oxidative stress disruption of gut bacteria and increased inflammatory load in the body. And inflammation is one of the silent accelerators of kidney decline. For younger adults, the body may compensate, but in older adults, reduced kidney clearance means these compounds can linger longer, pushing the kidneys to work harder every single day. Not once, not dramatically, but steadily, year after year. This is what makes the danger so cruel. There is no warning pain, no sudden crash, just gradual loss of resilience. Blood tests slowly worsen, energy fades, nighttime urination increases, and people assume it's just aging, never realizing that small daily exposures are quietly shaping their future health. The solution isn't fear, it's awareness. Reading labels, choosing soy products with clear sourcing, prioritizing quality over short-term savings. Because what looks cheaper at checkout can become painfully expensive later in medical cost treatments and lost independence. Kidney failure is rarely caused by one dramatic mistake. It's built from small decisions repeated thousands of times. And this is why understanding danger alone is still not enough. Avoiding harm is only half the equation. What truly changes the future is knowing how to support and protect your kidneys moving forward. But just knowing what to avoid still isn't enough, because the next part reveals what actually helps aging kidneys recover and stay strong, and that's where real hope begins. Before we end today, I want you to take a moment and breathe. If some of what you heard felt uncomfortable, that's not a bad sign. It means you're paying attention. And the most important thing to remember is this: kidney damage doesn't mean your future is already decided. What truly matters is what you choose to do from this moment forward. Small changes in daily habits, especially in how you eat and what you avoid, can make a meaningful difference over time. If this information helped you see your meals, your choices, or your health a little more clearly, I encourage you to save this video so you can come back to it later. And if you care about protecting your kidneys, staying independent, and aging with strength and clarity, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Every week, we share clear, practical medical insights to help you take better care of your kidneys before problems become irreversible. You're not alone on this journey. Learning how to protect your kidneys isn't about fear. It's about awareness, consistency, and self-respect. With the right knowledge and the right choices, it is absolutely possible to age with healthier kidneys, more energy, and fewer medical surprises. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I'll see you in the next video.